When you cut her off, you become the man she suddenly can't stop craving. Folks, most men think walking away means losing. You stop texting, you go quiet, you remove access, and inside you assume she forgets you. Meanwhile, you are the one replaying memories, checking your phone, wondering if you made a mistake. Here is what is actually happening. When you disappear cleanly, without anger, without speeches, without chasing closure, you remove the emotional cushion that protected her from consequence. There is no more reassurance, no more attention, no more version of you softening the absence. That space does something powerful to the female mind. It forces comparison, replay, and self-questioning. Not because you manipulated anything, but because access is gone and clarity remains. The brain reacts to what it cannot reach. Most men ruin this by explaining, apologizing, or trying to get the last word. They think being understood gives peace. In reality, being understood gives her closure and kills regret. In this video, I will show you why silence after a breakup triggers delayed regret, how absence shifts the power dynamic, and why staying calm and unavailable does more than any message ever could. If you have ever wondered why walking away feels harder for you but hits her later, this will change how you see everything. Right now, folks, let's get into it. Number 1. She lost access. Folks, this is the real starting point of everything. Regret does not begin with emotion. It begins with access. The moment she loses access to you, the psychological dynamic changes. Not because you said something clever, not because you explained yourself, but because you removed the one thing her mind assumed was permanent: your presence. Most men think attention is power. It is not. Access is power. Attention is cheap if access remains open. You can text her, explain your feelings, stay friendly, check in, and still be emotionally available. That keeps you inside her world. And as long as you stay inside her world, there is no space for regret to form. Let us look at a real situation. Take Mark, age 52, from Florida. Mark dates Susan, age 47. Things fade slowly. Susan becomes distant. Mark stays polite, keeps texting, tries to stay connected. He thinks being mature will make her appreciate him. What actually happens is Susan never feels the loss. Mark is still there, still accessible, still emotionally present. Now compare that with Brian, age 48, from Ohio. Brian ends things cleanly with Jennifer, age 45. No arguments, no speeches, no emotional messages. He simply stops reaching out, removes access. Jennifer feels fine at first. Then something strange happens. The routines break. No more messages, no more reactions, no more emotional safety net. Brian is gone from her daily life. That is when the mind starts working. Here is the key psychological mechanism. The brain does not process loss immediately. It processes absence over time. When access disappears, the nervous system starts noticing gaps. Gaps create awareness. Awareness creates comparison. Comparison creates regret. This is why cutting her off works only when it is clean. If you linger, explain, or stay emotionally connected, you become a cushion. You soften the impact. You protect her from consequence. You help her adjust. And when you help her adjust, you erase your own psychological weight. She does not regret what she can still reach. Access is not just physical. It is emotional and mental. If she can still vent to you, still get validation, still feel wanted, she has not lost you. She has simply downgraded you. That does not create regret. It creates comfort. And comfort kills desire. When access is removed, the female mind does something automatic. It starts replaying, not the bad parts, the good parts, the moments of connection, the feelings of being desired, the version of you that is no longer available. That contrast is what creates emotional tension. Most men sabotage this by reopening access too early. They respond to breadcrumbs. They answer late-night messages. They give emotional support after the breakup. They think they are being strong. In reality, they are restoring comfort. And comfort ends regret. Real power is silent. It is not dramatic. It is not angry. It is absence with clarity. If she knows where you stand and cannot reach you, her mind fills the space. If she does not know what you are doing and cannot access you, imagination replaces reality. And imagination is always stronger than facts. That is why the clean cut is so effective. You are no longer an option, you become a question, and questions live longer in the mind than answers. If this resonates, leave a comment with this line: I removed access. Hang tight for a moment. What comes next explains why silence affects her mind more deeply than any emotional conversation ever could. Number 2. Silence drives her crazy. Folks, silence is not empty. Silence is pressure. When you cut off access and then go quiet, you remove the one thing her mind was relying on to stay comfortable: certainty. Most men think silence means nothing is happening. The truth is, silence is where her mind starts doing the work you used to do for her. Words give structure. Silence removes structure. And the human brain hates unfinished stories. When there is no explanation, no final talk, no emotional speech, the mind keeps reaching for a conclusion. It starts replaying. It rewinds the last conversations. It scans for clues. It tries to rebuild a narrative that feels safe. That looping is not romance, it is mental friction. And friction creates obsession. This is why silence hits harder than an argument. An argument still gives her a script. She can tell herself he is angry, he is hurt, he is dramatic, he is still attached. Even negative attention is still attention. It still keeps you emotionally present. Silence gives her nothing to hold. No label. No certainty, no easy story, just absence. Stoicism speaks directly to this. Epictetus said people are not disturbed by things, but by the views they take of them. Silence blocks a clean view. She cannot settle on a simple interpretation, so her mind keeps working. She is disturbed not because you spoke, but because you did not. Most men ruin this by explaining. They send the long message. They list reasons. They try to be understood. They want closure because closure feels like relief. But understand, this closure helps her process. It gives her emotional organization. It gives her a neat ending. And a neat ending kills regret. Silence removes the cushion. When you keep checking in, staying friendly, or being available for emotional talks, you act like a cushion. You soften the fall. You make the loss easier to digest. When you disappear cleanly, the cushion vanishes. The nervous system has to feel the gap fully. That is when it starts noticing what she lost. Silence also disrupts routine. If she was used to your replies, your attention, your steady presence, that pattern becomes part of her emotional baseline. When it is gone, her baseline shifts. At first, she may feel relief. Then the relief fades. Then the space becomes loud. That is when she starts comparing. Not comparing you to other men in a flattering way, but comparing her current emotional state to the stability she had when you were still accessible. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the mind adapts and converts obstacles into fuel. Silence is an obstacle to certainty, so the mind converts it into imagination. And imagination is ruthless. It paints you as stronger, calmer, and more valuable than you appeared when you were still available. This is why silence drives her crazy. It is not punishment. It is clarity without commentary. It forces her to sit with the consequences without your emotional presence guiding her through it. If this clicks, leave a comment with this line: I stay silent, keep listening. The next part explains why explaining yourself is the fastest way to erase her regret before it even begins. Number 3. Do not explain yourself. Folks, explaining yourself feels mature, logical, and respectful. In reality, it is one of the fastest ways to erase the emotional weight she would otherwise feel. Explanations soothe. They organize. They calm the nervous system. And when you calm the nervous system after a breakup, you remove the very friction that creates regret. Most men explain because they want to be understood. They want her to see their side, to acknowledge the effort, to recognize the pain. That desire is human, but it is also costly. The moment you explain, you become emotionally present again. You turn yourself into a guide, helping her process the loss. And once she processes it, she moves on cleanly. Look at Chris, age 48, from Colorado. Chris ends things with Amanda, age 45. He sends a long message, explaining his feelings, his intentions, and why it did not work. Amanda reads, "It feels sad for a day, then feels relieved." The story is complete. Chris gave her closure. Now compare that to David, age 51, from New Jersey. David ends things with Laura, age 47, calmly and briefly. No blame, no speech, no emotional unpacking. Then he goes silent. Laura feels confused at first, then unsettled. Days later, she starts replaying moments, not the bad ones, the good ones. David did not give her a clean ending, so her mind keeps searching for one. Here is the psychology. The brain wants resolution. When you explain, you hand it over. When you stay quiet, you deny it. That denial creates tension. Tension keeps memory alive. Memory plus emotion is what turns absence into regret. Explaining also signals something subtle. It signals that you need her understanding to feel complete. That places emotional responsibility on her. Responsibility kills desire. Women do not want to manage your emotional outcome. They want to feel the impact of losing access to you. Another mistake men make is defending themselves. They want to be seen as the good guy. They want fairness, but fairness is not attractive. Presence is. And presence disappears the moment you start justifying yourself. Think about Mike, age 54, from Oregon. Mike keeps responding to texts after the breakup, clarifying intentions, answering questions, explaining tone. He believes he is being respectful. What he is really doing is staying available. The emotional cord never breaks. Regret never forms. Contrast that with Paul, age 49, from Virginia. Paul answers once briefly, then stops engaging. No hostility, no coldness, just finality. Weeks later, the absence hits harder because there was nothing to soften it. This is not about punishment. It is about boundaries. Silence after a clean ending allows the emotional weight to land fully. Words absorb impact. Silence delivers it. One more truth, folks. When you explain, you also freeze yourself in time. She remembers you as the man who pleaded his case. When you do not explain, you stay undefined. Undefined images grow. Defined images shrink. The undefined version of you feels stronger, calmer, and harder to replace because her imagination keeps updating you without limits. That difference changes everything. Completely. If this resonates, leave a comment with this line: "I owe no explanations. Stay right here." The next part reveals why absence does more damage to her certainty than any emotional conversation ever could. Number 4. Absence makes her feel you. Folks, here is the paradox most men never understand. Your presence is felt most strongly when it is gone. When you are around, available, explaining, and emotionally accessible, your value is diluted by familiarity. When you remove yourself cleanly, absence does something words never could. It makes her feel you. Absence works because emotion needs contrast. When something is constant, the nervous system adapts and stops registering it. When something disappears, the nervous system reacts. It notices the gap. It searches for what used to be there. That search is emotional, and emotion is what creates attachment. Stoicism understood this principle deeply. Marcus Aurelius wrote that loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight. Absence is a form of change. It disrupts the emotional baseline. When you are no longer there to stabilize her feelings, the system recalibrates. And during that recalibration, your absence becomes loud. Most men think talking keeps them relevant. In reality, talking keeps them manageable. When you speak, you guide the emotional process. You help her interpret the situation. You reduce impact. Absence removes guidance. There is no explanation, no emotional hand-holding. The feeling has to land on its own. That is when she starts feeling you in places you used to occupy unconsciously. Quiet moments, empty routines, familiar times of day. Your absence shows up not as logic, but as sensation. That sensation is far stronger than memory. Epictetus said that if you wish to improve, be content to appear clueless or stupid in extraneous matters. Silence often looks weak to men who fear it. In truth, silence is restraint, and restraint creates weight. Weight is felt. Another critical point: absence forces internal dialogue. When you were present, her attention moved outward. Now it turns inward. She begins asking questions, not out loud, privately. Did I misjudge him? Why does this feel heavier than I expected? Why do I keep thinking about him now? Those questions do not come from conversation. They come from lack of it. Absence also removes emotional cushioning. When you are still available, you soften the transition. You ease the separation. You make it easier to move on. When you disappear, there is no buffer. The nervous system must process the full impact. That processing takes time, and time deepens feeling. Seneca warned that he who is everywhere is nowhere. A man who remains present after being dismissed erases his own gravity. A man who withdraws preserves it. Gravity pulls without effort. This is why absence is not punishment, it is self-respect. You are not trying to make her feel anything. You are simply no longer absorbing the emotional cost for her. The cost arrives on its own. And this is where many men break. They reappear too early. They answer messages. They check in. They relieve the pressure. And the feeling fades. If you want deeper guidance on how to apply this correctly without ego or bitterness, consider joining the channel membership. Inside, we go further into emotional discipline, silence, and stoic control, designed for men who want mastery, not shortcuts. If this resonates, leave a comment with this line: I trust absence. Stay right here. The next part explains why what feels like relief at first often turns into regret later. Number 5. Relief turns into regret. Folks, the first feeling most women experience after a breakup is not pain. It is relief. The pressure drops, the tension fades, the emotional noise quiets down, and many men see this relief and panic. They assume it means she is fine and has moved on. That assumption is usually wrong. Relief is anesthesia. It numbs sensation temporarily. When the stimulus is gone, the body relaxes. But anesthesia wears off. And when it does, the nervous system starts registering what is missing. That is when regret begins to form. Think about Steve, age 51, from Michigan, and Laura, age 46. When Steve cut contact calmly, Laura felt lighter for a week. No arguments, no expectations, no emotional management. She told herself this was for the best. But after the relief faded, the quiet felt strange. Evenings felt longer, her phone felt heavier. Steve was no longer there to ground her routine. Now compare that to another situation. Kevin, age 49, from Nevada, stayed available after the breakup with Diane, age 44. He checked in. He clarified feelings. He stayed kind and present. Diane never felt a clean break, so she never felt relief. And because she never felt relief, she never felt the drop afterward. Regret never arrived. Here is the mechanism. Relief masks loss. Loss needs time to register. When access is removed cleanly, the mind first enjoys freedom. Then the baseline returns. Then comparison begins. Life without you is measured against life with you. That comparison creates discomfort. Discomfort creates questioning. Questioning creates regret. Relief also hides comparison. During relief, she avoids measuring outcomes. After relief, comparison becomes unavoidable. She notices emotional gaps. She notices how others feel thinner. She notices how your absence carries weight. That realization is not romantic at first. It is unsettling. And unsettled feelings linger longer than comfort. They return quietly at night and during moments of boredom and reflection, alone today. This is why regret is delayed. It is not dramatic. It is subtle. It shows up in quiet moments. It shows up when routines break. It shows up when new connections fail to replicate the emotional stability you provided. Men often destroy this process by reappearing too soon. They respond to messages. They offer help. They provide reassurance. Each interaction resets relief. Each reset delays regret. Comfort replaces consequence. Look at Brian, age 54, from Ohio. He ignored late-night messages after the breakup with Megan, age 47. He was not cruel. He was consistent. Weeks later, Megan admitted she missed how steady he felt. That feeling did not exist during relief. It appeared after. Relief turns into regret only when absence is respected. If you rush back, you rescue her from the feeling she needs to experience. You become the solution to the discomfort you created. And when you become the solution, you lose leverage. This is not revenge. It is reality. Emotional systems recalibrate over time. If you interrupt that recalibration, nothing changes. If this lands for you, leave a comment with this line: I allow the process. Stay focused for a moment. The next part shows how the power dynamic flips when you stop chasing resolution. Number 6. You take back control. Folks, control is not about dominance over someone else. It is about authority over yourself. When you stop chasing answers, explanations, and emotional resolution, you quietly reclaim power. Not power to manipulate, but power to decide how your energy is spent. Most men think control comes from getting a response, a reply, an apology, a reaction. In reality, the man who needs nothing controls the frame. The one who waits for validation hands it away. Silence is not weakness. It is self-command. Stoic philosophy is clear on this. Epictetus said that no man is free who is not master of himself. When you cut contact and hold it, you stop being pulled by emotion. You stop reacting to every urge. That discipline restores internal order, and internal order is always felt externally. Here is the psychological shift that happens. While she searches for clarity, you stop searching altogether. While she wonders, you move forward. That asymmetry flips the dynamic. The one who is less invested in the outcome holds control. This is not strategy, it is alignment. Control also returns when you stop trying to fix feelings. Many men stay engaged because they want things to feel better for both sides. But fixing emotions keeps you entangled. Detachment ends entanglement, and when entanglement ends, clarity begins. Marcus Aurelius wrote that you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. When you stop engaging, you accept what you cannot control and focus on what you can: your behavior, your attention, your direction. Another layer is nervous system regulation. When you stop checking, waiting, and hoping, your body settles. Breathing slows. Thoughts sharpen. Presence returns. That calm presence is power. It is noticed even in absence. Control also means you stop negotiating your worth. You no longer seek to be understood. You no longer explain your intentions. You let actions speak by their absence. That refusal to over-communicate signals self-respect. Many men fear this step because it feels like letting go. In truth, it is taking hold. You are taking hold of your time, your focus, and your dignity. You are choosing long-term strength over short-term relief. Stoicism calls this temperance. Not suppression, but restraint. Seneca warned that he who indulges desire weakens himself. When you restrain the urge to reach out, you strengthen the part of you that leads. This is where identity shifts. You stop seeing yourself as someone waiting to be chosen. You become someone choosing his path. That identity change is permanent. And once it happens, you do not need outcomes to feel whole. Control also reshapes how you see the past. Instead of replaying what went wrong, you extract lessons without emotion. You stop romanticizing pain. You stop assigning meaning to silence. You accept reality as it is. That acceptance removes inner conflict. And when conflict fades, confidence takes its place naturally, without performance or posturing, just quiet certainty in who you are becoming. If this resonates, leave a comment with this line: I choose control. Right now, my friend, stay focused. The next part explains why calm detachment creates attraction without effort and turns absence into lasting impact. Number 7. Calm detachment turns her on. Folks, this is where attraction shifts from emotional noise to quiet intensity. Calm detachment is not coldness. It is not indifference. It is emotional self-control without resentment. And that state is deeply erotic because it feels rare, grounded, and unpredictable in the right way. Most men detach emotionally only after they get angry, hurt, or bitter. That kind of detachment feels defensive. It feels heavy. Calm detachment is different. It comes from acceptance, not rejection. You are not pulling away to punish. You are stepping back because you are centered in yourself. Here is why this works psychologically. Calm detachment removes emotional pressure. When a woman senses that you are not trying to influence her feelings, her nervous system relaxes. Relaxation creates safety. Safety opens the door for desire. Desire cannot exist in a space filled with emotional demands. Think about Adam, age 51, from California. Adam ends things with Claire, age 46. Instead of explaining or chasing closure, Adam stays polite and distant. No late-night messages, no emotional speeches. When they occasionally cross paths through mutual friends, Adam is calm, warm, and composed. He does not bring up the past. He does not seek validation. Claire feels something unexpected. Adam feels stronger now than he did when he was trying. That feeling confuses her. Now compare that to another man Claire dated before. He kept checking in after the breakup. He asked how she was feeling. He tried to stay emotionally connected. Claire felt drained. Not because he was bad, but because his energy felt attached. Attachment feels heavy. Detachment feels light. Calm detachment creates sexual tension because it introduces mystery without distance. You are present, but not available. Warm, but not invested. That balance is rare. Most men are either chasing or disappearing completely. Very few remain calm and grounded in the middle. Look at another example. Eric, age 48, from Texas, runs into Sarah, age 43 months after a breakup. Eric is friendly, confident, and emotionally neutral. He listens, smiles, and leaves first. No lingering, no emotional hooks. Sarah feels something shift inside her. Eric no longer feels like the man who wanted her. He feels like the man she now has to earn back. That is the power of calm detachment. Women are highly sensitive to emotional tone. They can feel when a man is still attached, still hoping, still waiting. They can also feel when a man has released outcome completely. That release feels like strength because it signals internal stability. From a Stoic perspective, this is emotional sovereignty. You are no longer seeking to control what you cannot control. You accept reality and remain composed. That composure is magnetic because it shows self-mastery. Calm detachment also changes your body language. Your posture opens, your voice slows, your eyes soften, you stop scanning for reactions. Those micro shifts create a different sexual presence. Not aggressive, not needy, just grounded. Here is the deeper layer. Calm detachment makes you feel scarce without trying to be. You are no longer chasing connection. You are choosing it selectively. That selectivity triggers desire because it makes your attention feel valuable again. This is why calm detachment turns her on. It removes emotional friction while preserving polarity. You are not pushing, you are not pulling. You are standing still while the dynamic shifts around you. If this resonates, leave a comment with this line: I stay detached. Hold your focus. The next part explains why regret always arrives late and why timing is what makes silence so powerful. Number 8. Regret hits her late. Folks, this is the part most men misunderstand, and it costs them patience. Regret does not arrive immediately. It arrives after time, after silence, and after the nervous system stops numbing itself. Expecting instant regret is the fastest way to sabotage the process. Right after a breakup, the dominant emotion is relief. Pressure lifts, expectations disappear, the emotional noise quiets down. That relief creates the illusion that she is unaffected. Many men read this moment wrong and assume they meant nothing. In reality, this phase is emotional anesthesia. Stoic philosophy explains this clearly. Seneca wrote that strong emotions often disguise themselves as calm before revealing their true weight. Relief is not resolution. It is delay. The mind postpones processing what it cannot yet face. Regret needs contrast to form. Contrast only appears after the system returns to baseline. Once the relief fades, routine resumes. Days normalize. Silence becomes noticeable. And that is when the comparison begins. Life without you is quietly measured against life with you. This is why regret always hits late. It needs absence plus time. Absence creates the gap. Time allows the mind to explore that gap. Without both, regret cannot form. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that time reveals what reason cannot. Emotional truth surfaces slowly, not on demand. When you rush for outcomes, you interrupt the natural rhythm of processing. When you remain still, time does the work for you. Another key point is emotional contrast. During relief, the mind avoids depth. It stays shallow. Once the nervous system settles, depth returns. Memories surface. Not the arguments, not the tension, the moments of stability, laughter, and emotional grounding. The mind highlights what is missing, not what was wrong. This delayed realization often surprises women. They expect to feel lighter permanently. Instead, they feel unsettled weeks later. Not devastated, not dramatic. Just an ongoing sense of something being off. That discomfort becomes regret when it links back to you. Men often destroy this stage by reappearing too early. They check in. They answer messages. They offer emotional availability. Each interaction resets relief. Each reset pushes regret further away. Comfort replaces consequence. Stoicism teaches patience through acceptance. Epictetus said that no great thing is created suddenly. Emotional realization follows the same rule. When you accept the delay instead of resisting it, you maintain your position. Another reason regret comes late is identity adjustment. When someone loses consistent access to you, it takes time for their self-image to recalibrate. Once the identity shift begins, emotional questioning follows. That questioning is uncomfortable, and discomfort fuels reflection. Regret is not loud, it is quiet. It appears during boredom, solitude, and comparison. It does not announce itself. It lingers. This is why silence must be maintained even when curiosity arises. The process cannot be rushed. If you interfere, you remove the very conditions regret needs to exist. Stoicism does not promise reunion. It promises control. You are not responsible for her emotions. You are responsible for your conduct. Holding silence with dignity preserves your value, regardless of outcome. If this resonates, leave a comment with this line: "I trust time. Remain steady." The next part explains why going back too soon destroys everything you just built. Number 9. Never go back. Folks, this is the moment where most men undo everything they built. Going back feels tempting. It feels hopeful. It feels like strength disguised as forgiveness. In reality, going back too soon is weakness disguised as connection. And once you go back, the power you regained disappears instantly. Never going back does not mean being bitter. It means being consistent. Regret only forms when absence is respected. The moment you re-enter her life without real change, you turn absence into availability. Availability kills curiosity. Curiosity is what regret feeds on. Let us look at a real situation. Take Jason, age 53, from Colorado. Jason cut contact with Emily, age 48, after a slow emotional drift. He stayed silent for weeks. Emily started reaching out casually. Jason felt validated. He replied, "They talked. Nothing serious. Just friendly." The tension disappeared overnight. Emily relaxed again. Regret faded. Jason felt confused, wondering why everything stalled. Now compare that to Andrew, age 49, from Georgia. Andrew ended things cleanly with Melissa, age 45. When Melissa reached out weeks later, Andrew stayed polite but distant. He did not jump back into emotional familiarity. He did not resume old patterns. Melissa felt the gap again. This time it felt sharper. Andrew had not changed his position. That consistency made him feel solid. That solidity is what kept regret alive. Here is the psychology. Regret depends on contrast. Going back removes contrast. It tells her that access was never truly lost. It reframes your silence as temporary. Temporary loss does not create lasting impact. Never going back also protects your self-respect. When you return without accountability, you teach her that boundaries are negotiable. Desire does not respect negotiable boundaries. Desire responds to firmness without hostility. Most men go back because they misread interest. A text is not commitment. Curiosity is not change. Emotion is not action. When men confuse these signals, they give access too easily. And when access returns, the mind relaxes. Relaxation ends regret. Look at another example. Brian, age 56, from Illinois, went back after a single emotional conversation. He felt chosen again. A month later, the same patterns returned. Nothing changed except Brian felt smaller. Regret never matured because he interrupted the process. Never going back does not mean never reconnecting. It means never returning to the same dynamic. If she comes back without effort, without accountability, without real change, going back is self-abandonment. Self-abandonment always costs attraction. Strong men wait for behavior, not words. They watch consistency over time. They do not rush to relieve discomfort. They let silence finish its work. This is where many men struggle. They feel guilty. They feel harsh. They feel like they are being cold. They are not. They are being disciplined. Discipline is not cruelty. It is alignment. Never going back also reshapes how you see yourself. You stop identifying as someone who waits to be chosen. You become someone who chooses. That identity shift is permanent, and once it happens, you no longer chase closure. Andrew did not go back because he was angry. He did not go back because he was clear. And clarity feels powerful. If this resonates, leave a comment with this line: I do not go back. Hold steady. The final part brings everything together and shows why walking away cleanly is what makes you unforgettable. Number 10. Walk away, she craves you. Folks, walking away is not abandonment. It is selection. When you walk away cleanly without bitterness or performance, you stop trying to be chosen and start choosing yourself. That shift is what creates craving. Not fear of loss, but recognition of value. Most men think desire comes from staying close. In reality, desire is born when presence is earned. When you walk away, you remove certainty. Certainty kills imagination. Imagination is what keeps you alive in her mind long after contact ends. Walking away works because it restores hierarchy. You are no longer reacting to her emotions, timelines, or confusion. You are grounded in your own direction. That independence changes how you are perceived. A man who can leave calmly communicates abundance. Abundance feels sexual because it signals options without bragging. There is also a neurological layer. When access disappears, dopamine does not vanish immediately. It spikes later through anticipation and replay. The mind keeps reaching for what it can no longer touch. That reaching feels like craving. Craving is not logical. It is felt in the body, not argued in the head. Walking away also reframes the past. When you stay available, she remembers you as familiar and manageable. When you walk away, memory sharpens. The emotional highlights rise. The stability, the grounding, the masculine presence become clearer in contrast to their absence. Absence edits memory in your favor. Another key element is restraint. You resist the urge to correct misunderstandings, chase reassurance, or prove your worth. That restraint builds internal strength. Strength changes posture, tone, and energy. Even in silence, that energy is sensed. It is why men who truly move on feel heavier than men who linger. Walking away does not guarantee reunion. It guarantees dignity. And dignity is the foundation of attraction. Without dignity, desire collapses into need. With dignity, desire stays clean even if paths never cross again. This is also why walking away must be final in spirit. Not dramatic, not announced. Just lived. You do not disappear to trigger regret. You disappear because your life continues forward. Ironically, that authenticity is what makes the effect work. When a woman senses that you are not waiting, not watching, not hoping, something shifts. You stop being a chapter she closed and become a question she cannot answer. Questions last longer than statements. Walking away also heals you. Your nervous system resets, your focus returns. You stop measuring your value through reaction. You build momentum elsewhere. That momentum creates masculine gravity. Gravity attracts without effort. So understand this clearly, folks. She does not crave the silence itself. She craves the man who had the strength to create it. The man who chose self-respect over reassurance. The man who walked away whole. That is why walking away is powerful. Not because it controls her, but because it restores you. Power like this lasts beyond one relationship. It changes how you show up everywhere. When you walk away aligned, you no longer chase outcomes. You attract them. And whether she returns or not, you remain the man who does not beg, explain, or shrink. That identity is permanent, and it changes everything. Forever, without apology or looking back ever again. Folks, today we broke down why cutting her off the right way changes everything. You learned how removing access shifts power, why silence works deeper than words, how regret is delayed, and why walking away with dignity restores masculine control. This video was not about revenge or manipulation. It was about self-respect, emotional discipline,